Today, we're going to dive into a classic story from the poet Rumi. And it's a great one because it reveals this hidden mental trap that, honestly, all of us fall into from time to time. So, the story is all about this incredible parrot. We're talking a bright green, super eloquent bird that could talk and sing and just charm everyone who came into the shop where it lived. But it's also a story about one really unfortunate accident. A single slip-up that kicks off this whole chain of pretty devastating events. And here's the real kicker. Ultimately, this whole thing is a clever way of pointing out a fundamental error in how we think, a blind spot that every single one of us has. All right, so let's get right into it. First up, we've got to meet the star of our show, this amazing parrot. Now, you have to understand, this wasn't just any old pet parrot. This bird was the heart and soul of the shop. It would guard the store, tell jokes with the customers, sing these beautiful songs. I mean, the shopkeeper literally called the bird his treasure. And for good reason. It made the entire place feel alive. But you know how these stories go. Even the greatest treasures can be fragile. And one simple, everyday accident is about to change absolutely everything. Okay, so here's what happened. The parrot's just doing its thing, flying around the shop, when it zips past a shelf and, oops, knocks over a bunch of expensive bottles of rose oil. And we're talking a huge mess. When the shopkeeper gets back, he finds his shop, even his clothes, are just soaked in the stuff. And he just snaps. In this flash of pure, unthinking fury, he lashes out and hits the parrot right on the head. It was just one impulsive act of anger, but the damage was done. All the beautiful green feathers on the parrot's head just fell out, leaving it completely bald. So, let's talk about what happens next. That one moment of anger had some pretty powerful consequences. And the silence that followed, man, it was deafening. From that moment on, the parrot just shut down. It stopped talking, no more singing, no more jokes, no more friendly chatter. It was like the joyful spirit of the shop had completely evaporated. The parrot's own spirit was just broken. And the shopkeeper? Oh, he was an absolute wreck. He was just consumed with regret, realizing he destroyed his own precious treasure. He tried everything to make it right. He prayed, he made offerings, he gave money to the poor, anything, in the desperate hope that the parrot would speak again. But nothing worked. For 3 straight days and nights, he just sat there, completely hopeless. And it's right here, in this moment of total despair, when he's at his lowest point, that's when the story takes a really unexpected turn. So as the shopkeeper is sitting there, a man walks by the shop. And the thing is, this man is completely bald, with a head so shiny the story says it looked like the back of a copper bowl. And the second the parrot lays eyes on this bald man, it happens. After all that time, all that silence, it opens its beak to speak. And what does it say? It squawks, "Hey, bald man, how'd you get so bald? Did you spill some oil bottles too?" I mean, you can imagine, everyone in the shop just burst out laughing. The parrot's logic is so simple, right? It sees another bald head and just assumes it must have happened the exact same way its own baldness did. Yeah, it's a pretty funny line. But here's the thing. That simple little mistake is the entire reason Rumi tells this story. He is using this parrot to point out a huge blind spot in the way we all think. You see, what the parrot did is a perfect example of what Rumi is warning us about, the trap of making false comparisons. This is what you'd call a mistaken comparison. The parrot saw something on the surface, baldness, and immediately jumped to a conclusion about the cause, spilling oil. And let's be honest, we do this all the time, judging things and people by their appearance without ever understanding what's really going on underneath. Rumi actually gives us a brilliant example to illustrate this point. Think about a wasp and a bee. On the surface, they might both feed on the exact same nectar from the exact same flower. But for the wasp, that nectar turns into poison. For the bee, it becomes sweet honey. Or here's another great one he uses. You have 2 different kinds of deer, a roe deer and a musk deer. They might eat the very same plants and drink from the same stream. For one, it just results in ordinary waste. But for the other, it transforms into refined, incredibly valuable musk. See? Same input, wildly different outcome. So let's bring this all together. What is the big takeaway from this ancient story that we can actually use in our lives today? Well, the core message is pretty straightforward. We get things wrong, we go astray because we are so easily fooled by things that only look similar on the surface. We are all, in some way, like that parrot. We see a bald head and we jump to a conclusion. So, what does this actually mean for you and me? It's a reminder that just because two people or two situations share one trait, that doesn't mean they share the same story or the same cause. Judging by appearances alone is pretty much a recipe for error. This story is pushing us to look deeper, to challenge our first assumptions, and to recognize that reality is almost always more complex than what we see at first glance. And that leaves us with one final question to really think about. In what areas of your own life, with people, with ideas, with situations, are you being the parrot? Where are you seeing just the surface and completely missing the true underlying reality?